What's an item you've owned since childhood that holds sentimental value? A wooden Fisher-Price teaching clock that plays a tune called Grandfather's Clock with a loud tick-tock sound. It has a wind-up music box mechanism inside. It is beat to hell, and the clock hands do not work anymore, but the music box still works. Here's an example of one, and the tune it plays. There is a version that is made to look like a red-painted schoolhouse, and another that is made to look like a grandfather clock with mice hanging around it. I have the latter. A little painted cardboard house me and my dad made when I was really young. Me and my parents lost nearly everything no warning when I was 8. So I'm a very sentimental bitch lol. Also tall Garfield mug my grandma bought me, which I think was the second to last gift she gave me before she died. I don't even let it leave my room unless I'm hand washing it making coffee because I would dive. It faded or broke. Plus, the last thing she wanted me to have was a 1925 Pretty Little art print. Inside my backpack there's an umbrella. Just a common, small, black umbrella with a button to open it. If you look under it while it's open, you'll notice it has quite a bit of rust on it. That's because my umbrella is 21 years old. This umbrella was the first item I bought, using the card from my first bank account, with the money from my first paycheck, from my first non-part-time job. This old umbrella is the starting point of my adulthood. Ceramic coin bank of a grandfather holding his grandchild. There was a special printing of a quarter the year I was born. My grandfather, who died when I was 2, would save those quarters in this bank whenever he found one in his pocket change. My dad inherited it and followed the tradition. Dad's alive, but he passed on the bank to me, and I've been carrying on the tradition ever since. There are rolls and rolls of these coins in storage. My first recorder, gifted to me by my grandma, minus one away from her, but she insisted I play to her every evening although the quality and my skills were shit at that time. Nonetheless, she always told me how great it sounded and how much she loved it. She died when I was about 8 and never got the chance to hear me play many different instruments. And finally the Spanish pipes I got last year. She would love them. I've lost pretty much everything that held sentimental value from childhood. In a way, it's a good thing you learn that it's not good for your mental health to be too attached. 2 things. The way my hoarder mum is. It's out of hand and extremely unhealthy. Not just for the 2 of them, but it's stressful for anyone going to visit and sit amongst metric tons of clutter that should be gotten rid of. Jack. My jack-o'-lantern trick or treat pail with light-up eyes. Not only does he have a switch for his eyes to light up, but he also has a button where, when you press it, he says, "Trick or treat, trick or treat. Ha 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 ha. Thank you." He's in the basement right now. He has battery acid on him right now because the last set of batteries I had in him exploded. With the war, I don't have anything from my childhood anymore. Even photographs, but the most dear thing is a diary I started 10 years ago when my son was born. It has nice memories and his drawings since he was 3 years old. I collected them and they have been kept in this diary. He loves it and asks me to read something from it occasionally. I have one piece left, the White Queen from the chess set my father taught me to play with when I was 6 years old. Died just 4 years later. And that chess piece is one of the only material things I have to remember him by now. 56 years after that afternoon he spent with me patiently teaching me the game. I'll somehow possess a fully whole Care Bear mug with the number 5 5th birthday present and the near flawless pair of mucklicks I bought with my own money at age 13. I'm in my 40s that somehow stay with me. This makes these rondos sentimental. My teddy bear. Dad was in Gibraltar when he found out he was a dad, so brought a largish teddy bear. It's now completely bald of fur. Been patched up numerous times, I will never part of it. PTW. I'm 67. Edited at every time my parents or I visited Gib. We have brought another bear. I've a collection now. The very first toe my mother gave me. Our family was at our poorest, but she loved me so much she's willing to sacrifice the money to make me happy. I think that's the one thing that motivated me to work harder and harder, and to finally drag our family out of the hell named poverty in the first place. My stuffed bunny, and not ashamed to say it. He's going on 61 years old now. and from his looks now, he had a pretty hard life in his younger days. He was lost once in a motel, fell out onto the interstate in the Smokies, traveled to Okinawa and back, and endured countless surgeries. Our dad was a vet. I have a small plastic hippo from an old jungle set that I had as a toddler. Somehow, that one piece has always been with me, stuffed in my sock drawer. Whenever I play poker, I take him out and sit him on my chips. His name is Horace the Hippo. I refer to him as my accountant during poker games. When I was probably 7 or 8 or so, my parents gave me a keychain with my name on it for my house key. I'm 42 now, and I've still got it on my keys. The sentimental value is less that it came from my parents and more a point of pride about the fact that I've never lost my keys once in my entire life. My old PS1. Why, as I grew up, so it was a hand-me-down from my brother, but for the next 15 years or so it was my absolute joy, and the memories I have playing Rayman and Crash Bandicoot with friends are delightful. I'm 29 now, and that thing still works. I have 2 plushies there, due to their age and fragility, now sit on a throne beside my bed. One is a teddy bear my oppa got me when I was probably 5. The other is a pink walrus named Paul that my dad got me the day I was born. When I'm having a rough time, I snuggle them to feel better. I gave my beloved grandmother a Bible I bought with my first job, Paperboy, back in 1975. She passed 2 years later, and it was returned to me when I was 14. Inside was scrap of paper she had written on. I'm 60 and still cradle it, remembering her and her unconditional love. They're all on the shelves right by me. My favorites are a toy of Kenny from South Park that you wind up to make it shuffle forward, and a bear my mum and I made out of clay. My old favorite was a model of a Concorde, but it was lost, so now I have a much bigger one. My fiancé owns about 1 million pieces of sentimental items and keeps adding to it. It drives me up the wall. He won't have it as hoarding because they are things from meaningful moments. But I don't need a new rock for every new river or lake we have a dip in. A black cat plushie I had since I was a child. It's still in pristine condition, considering I didn't have the best childhood and it was given by a parent. I'm not entirely sure why I bonded so much with the toe. I remember loving it wholeheartedly. We used to have these little gift book fairs in elementary school, and my twin brother got me a little palm-sized castle carved out of pink rock. That's my most important possession, and I'm sure he doesn't even remember it. We were probably 6 or so. My baby blanket. My mum crocheted it years and years ago and gifted it to me when I was 4. I remember the day she held it up to me to make sure it was long enough. She passed away 15 years ago, and it's one of the only things I have left from her. One cherished item from my childhood that holds immense sentimental value is a small, faded teddy bear given to me by my grandmother. It has weathered the years alongside me, a tangible connection to the warmth and love of my early years. I have a military compass. My dad said that when he was in Vietnam, a second LT lent him a compass, and he never asked for it back, so he kept it. My dad lent me the compass, and he never asked for it back, and I still have it. I have this little blue egg-shaped rock with a turtle on it. Think my parents got it for me at some tourist trap, but I just always kept it. It's on top of my dresser, and I'll just randomly look at it and smile. When I graduated from elementary school, my grandma got me this stuffed animal. It looks like an Oreo with arms and legs and graduation cap. It says "one smart cookie" on it. It is completely silly, but I love it. For me, it's a .22 rifle my grandpa gave me. When he was 12, he bought it from a neighbor who claimed to be part of the Freemasons. It was the last gift I received from him before he died, and I will never sell it. An original speak and spell that I later had autographed by Richard Nixon, Jimmy Carter, Ronald Reagan, George Bush, Bill Clinton, George W. Bush, Obama and Trump. Bill Clinton drew a penis on the back of it. Lol. NDO 3DSXL. I'm young, yes. I used to take it to trips with me and play with it. It was my first big birthday gift. I gave it to a good friend because he will use it more than me. I love that thing though. Cast iron pan and old pot. I left home at 18. But when we cleaned out my stepmom's house, it's one of the few things of my dad's I remember Everything we made was in that pot or pan. I used them all the time. Approximately 1 box's worth. It's good. I'm glad I have it. And when my child is old enough, I'll be able to show her some of my old artwork and pictures. I wouldn't need much more than I do now, though. My grandma gave me a matryoshka after who visited Russia. I still have it. It's one of the only gifts I got from her except the peppermint roll she gave me every visit. I still love peppermint. My dad worked in cable in Florida in the 80s when MTV came out. He had some cool shirts and I managed to save one. Thin as tissue paper from all the wear. But I'll keep that baby forever. My family was poor, so I only got one present for Christmas. It was a Stomper semi, but you could send in the barcode and shipping to get a trailer for it, which I got for my birthday. A hair barrette holder, little pillow like top W, my name embroidered on it with a ribbon coming down. To clip the barrettes on that my grandmother made me when I was about 3 or 4. I have a sword that I got from my uncle. And I have a tow submarine that survived one of our car crashes without a scratch after being flung pretty far from the accident. My great aunt used to send me journals of inspirational writings to help ease my depression as a young girl teen. I hold those journals very near and dear to my heart. My comfort bear I slept with at night. It's a dog with floppy ears and with pajamas on and a yellow blanket. And he went with us on every holiday. He's called Fluffles. Sword my grandfather took off a body in WWII. At some point about a decade ago, our family contacted the family of the Japanese soldier who said they did not want it. I've got an old lamb chopped doll from my aunt, which I've had for as long as I can remember. That and a rosary are the two most sentimental things I currently hold.